Wild boars not only destroy crops, but directly threaten our lives. Over the past 3 months, their numbers have surged by almost 50%, taking over the areas on the outskirts of the village. Just last week alone, they ravaged more than 10 hectares of rice. There's no other choice. We have to call in the hunters to stop this nightmare. This hunt isn't for sport, it's for survival. One mistake could bring disaster to the entire community. The hunt is meticulously prepared by Thomas's team. As the late afternoon light begins to fade, they silently drive towards the foothills of the French countryside. Each member is professional, equipped with the best gear, ready to face whatever comes their way. Despite only having a vague idea of the wild boar's movements, they quickly pinpoint their location and possible routes of escape. Soon, a boar appears within their sights. Thomas adjusts the scope, and as the target enters his crosshairs, he squeezes the trigger. The shot rings out, powerful and precise. The boar drops. The sound of the gunshot serves as a clear warning, ending the intrusion of these wild beasts into their territory. Thanks to that victory, the team moves with greater urgency, tracking down new targets. After only a few minutes, another boar appears through the binoculars. Without hesitation, a bullet is fired, dead on target. Nice! Even though it tries to escape, it stands no chance against the sharpest marksman of the team. Without their skill, I can't imagine what would happen to this place. I thought the team might shift direction, but instead, they press deeper into the terrain. It seems they've spotted the boars nearby. There they are! Quickly, they divide and take up strategic positions. Every shot is perfectly placed, almost flawlessly so. No boar can escape their control. The team has the situation firmly in hand. With their experience and knowledge of the boar's habits, Thomas's team quickly moves into position. Within minutes, familiar shapes emerge in the distance. With precise aim, Thomas doesn't hesitate, squeezing the trigger. Couldn't help but marvel at their skill. Without their expertise, this place would surely have suffered much more destruction. As darkness envelops the landscape, we thought the hunt might be over. But no, they swiftly switch to a night hunting strategy. Using modern technology, the hunt continues without pause. I wondered how they could track wild boars in the dark. The answer is a compact night vision scope, capable of revealing everything hidden in the shadows. The once hidden shapes now become clear as day. Seizing the opportunity, a series of sharp shots ring out, each one finding its mark as the boars attempt to flee. After several tense minutes, only the fallen boars remain, their threat eliminated. The land is saved from further destruction by these vicious beasts. After the echoes of the gunfire fade, silence settles over the land, but the hunters don't stop. They press on with their mission. Their patience is finally rewarded as more targets emerge. This time, there are even more than before. Without hesitation, the team moves in. As soon as the boars are in the crosshairs, another shot rings out. One by one, the boars fall, and peace is finally restored to a land that has been plagued by chaos for too long. Thanks to the dedication and intelligence of Thomas's team, we are spared from further devastation by these wild creatures. The gunfire echoed through the air, accompanied by the roar of helicopters slicing through the wind. Closing in on the Boars, don't let them escape. An aerial chase like no other. From the helicopter, the devastated farmlands came into view, wild boar tracks scarring the earth. I clenched my rifle in anger, keeping a steady lock on the chaotic movement below. The herd scattered in all directions, making it nearly impossible to get a clear shot. In that split second, I squeezed the trigger, a perfect headshot. Helicopter hunting is an expensive method, but it's incredibly effective. From above, you can survey the entire area. With no obstacles in the way, the wild boars have nowhere to hide. At this moment, the sound of the helicopter sent the boars into a wild frenzy, creating complete chaos below. The more chaotic it became, the more intense the hunt felt. I locked on to my first target. A boar had separated from the herd, charging like a whirlwind, testing my sharpshooting skills. Bang! The first shot seemed to miss, and the boar continued to race away from the deadly reach. I quickly adjusted my aim. This time, I couldn't afford to miss. The bullet plunged from the sky, taking the beast down decisively. It slid across the ground, dust flying in all directions. Was this shot worth a perfect 10 for marksmanship, guys? Below, chaos unfolded as the herd of boars scattered in every direction, desperately trying to escape the aerial pursuit. The atmosphere grew frantic. Massive bodies thundered across the ground, dust swirling in every direction. We tightened our grip on the rifles, focusing on the fast-moving targets, none of which followed any predictable pattern. This time, we were determined to wipe them out. The shots rang out in quick succession. Several boars collapsed, but most of them continued their frantic dash forward. The cries, the thundering hooves, the helicopter blades slicing through the air, and the gunfire mixed with the roar of the engines, creating a scene that was both brutal and chaotic. It truly felt like a battle. We landed the helicopter in a field to the west of the village. The area had been heavily ravaged by the boars. My friend Jason took out his binoculars and scanned the distance. Hundreds of meters away, he spotted a target, a dark-skinned wild boar, scavenging through the remains of what was left. With standard firearms, taking a shot at that distance would have been impossible. Jason quickly chambered around. In a smooth, decisive motion, he brought the boar down from such a far distance. From the sky to the ground, It was the seamless coordination between the team and our advanced equipment that formed a solid strategy to successfully complete the mission entrusted to us by the people. On the other side of the fence, a wild boar was rummaging for food. We spotted the target. Without hesitation, I raised my rifle and squeezed the trigger decisively. The bullet flew true, striking the boar, which collapsed instantly, motionless. Perfect shot. The sound of barking dogs filled the air. From the thick bushes, a massive wild boar charged out, with a pack of hounds close behind. I chambered around. Before I could finish the shot, Jason's perfectly timed support ended the situation. We were lucky. If we'd been even a second slower, we might have been attacked. It was dangerously close. It's rare for us to face a boar so directly like this. The distance was so close. In moments like this, if you don't stay calm and react quickly, you'll lose the battle. In northeastern Poland, every night turns into a fierce battle. Wild beasts have ravaged tens of hectares of crops, causing tens of millions of dollars in damage. Faced with this urgent situation, the government quickly deployed hunting teams to end the disaster. No stage, no script, only the sound of gunfire defending this land. The hunting begins right now. As the sun climbed higher, Nick's hunting team arrived on the scene. They quickly spread out, surrounding the entire field and tracking their target's trail. Before long, Nick and his team spotted a massive wild hog. They closed in swiftly, determined not to let the beast escape. The moment it appeared, gunfire erupted, just when it seemed the fight was over. Oh no! The giant beast charged straight at James. Decisive shots were fired in time to halt its attack. Their first hard-won trophy of the day was secured. No time to rest. The hound's barking quickly guided Nick's hurried footsteps forward. The wild hog came into clear view with every sprint. Without hesitation, a series of rapid shots blocked its escape route. Before he could even lower his gun, another figure appeared, and the gunfire continued. Now, only the fallen beasts remain on the lush green grass, testaments to the fierce battle just fought. One more part of the field is safely reclaimed. On the west side of the field, a wild hog was desperately trying to escape James' vehicle. These beasts are incredibly cunning, weaving and dodging to test James' driving skills. Without hesitation, he accelerated to keep close on its trail. Spotting the perfect choke point, a swift series of moves brought the beast down. Another hard-earned victory for the team. As the sun set, Nick's team decided to head back and gear up fully for the night hunt. By 6 p.m., they were already tracking fresh signs, spreading out to set ambushes across the field. Ten minutes later, a group of wild hogs gathered, unaware they had walked straight into the crosshairs. Nick locked onto the fattest one and squeezed the trigger. The sharp crack of gunfire echoed across the field. In moments, only scattered carcasses remained. Moving on to the neighboring field, the sight of wild hogs busy foraging came into clear view through Nick's latest binoculars. Without hesitation, Nick quickly picked the best position and angle to strike. Gunshots rang out, each hog dropping swiftly to the ground. Every shot was clean and decisive, just like Nick's determination, not giving a single beast any chance to cause more damage.
Hey, what you got there, bud?
Other ambush points were set up swiftly. Just minutes later, in the pitch-black night, sharp gunshots cracked one after another as wild hogs fell to the ground.
Hey, what you got, bud?
Hey! What you got?
Every corner of the field was thoroughly swept, no threat left unchecked. This field is now temporarily secured, easing the worries of the local farmers. The number of wild hogs taken down today stands as clear proof of an intense battle fought. Wild boars, with their ability to survive in any condition and sharp tusks, not only devastate crops, causing millions of dollars in damage, but also pose a risk of spreading disease. At this critical moment, hunters must step in to stop the threats. Will this battle be enough to halt the monstrous horde? Coming up are breathtaking moments of ambush and pursuit, where courage and precision decide everything. Follow along now. A thrilling ambush is unfolding on the hills of Turkey. Nick's hunting team arrived early, taking positions to surround the area. After 15 minutes, a hunter swiftly spots his target. Without hesitation, he locks his aim and pulls the trigger. The gunshot echoes, sending the boar herd into a panicked stampede, leaving the last one's body on the cold ground. A decisive, precise shot, kicking off the relentless hunt. Not letting the prey escape, the radio immediately signals the location of a wild boar that just slipped away. Nick quickly determines its direction using the tracking device and rushes to the spot. There it is, a large, fat wild boar surrounded by the pack of hunting dogs at the base of the slope. As it steps onto the trail, a bullet strikes the beast directly, giving it no chance to flee. A clean operation, marking another victory for the team. Continuing down the hillside, Nick quickly spots a wild boar lurking in the bushes. As it emerges from the shadows, it instantly falls into his sights. Gunshots ring out in rapid succession, blocking its escape route on the trail. The beast collapses in the grass by the path, another threat eradicated from this forest. At the same time, amid the dense bushes in Spain, a top-notch ambush is being executed. Another hunting team has surrounded the area, poised and ready. Jack is intently scanning the surroundings when a wild boar suddenly bolts out of the bushes. Without a moment's thought, a precise shot rings out, dropping the beast before it can react. A lightning-fast, decisive reflex that saves this land from a destructive claw. At another position, after 15 minutes of waiting, the final beast finally appears in the hunter's sights. The gunshot rings out instantly, so fast that the boar collapses before it even realizes what's happening. Just one shot, halting the threat to this land. Continuing to track the remaining traces of the wild boars, a sudden rustling sound breaks out. The hunter immediately turns toward the noise, and at that very moment, a wild boar charges out. Acting on instinct, he pulls the trigger, and the beast collapses before it can launch an attack. A truly heart-stopping moment. Just a split second slower, and it might not have been the boar lying on the ground. Another threat eliminated in the blink of an eye. Hunting wild boars is not just a passion, it's a battle for survival between humans and the savage claws of these monstrous creatures. Only fearless, experienced hunters have the grit to handle life or death situations like the one just witnessed. Recently, wild boar sightings have become more frequent around my uncle's farm. The fields have been torn apart and the crops devoured, leaving my uncle waking up every morning with a look of worry. He knew all too well that these creatures were cunning and hard to control. Faced with this situation, I suggested he set traps, an effective and low-cost method. But catching the animal was just the beginning. From that moment on, a tense battle began, one that would decide whether peace would ever return to the farm. To increase our chances of catching the wild boars, my uncle and I set up multiple traps at once, primarily using round cage traps. The perfect type for capturing an entire herd when they arrive together. We carefully placed the traps along well-trodden paths, where fresh footprints and droppings indicated that the boars had passed through not long ago. To enhance their effectiveness, we baited each trap with corn and cassava, hanging the bait near the entrance to lure the boars closer and trigger the trap. Early in the morning, my uncle and I silently followed the familiar path, heading toward the area where the traps were set for inspection. When we arrived, the sight before us took us by surprise. Several wild boars had already been trapped, the cages shaking violently. The cage traps were designed with a sophisticated self-locking mechanism. When a boar touched the bait, such as the corn or cassava hanging inside, the latch would immediately release, causing the cage door to slam shut, trapping the entire herd. Thanks to careful preparation and placing the traps in the right locations, after just one night, our efforts had paid off handsomely. The number of wild boars was so large that if we didn't act decisively and release them back into the forest, not only would my uncle's farm continue to suffer, but the surrounding villagers would also be in turmoil. To prevent the situation from spiraling out of control, we immediately took action with determination. In the blink of an eye, everything was under control. This unexpected result was a clear testament that the balance of the battle to protect the land was gradually tipping in our favor. Unlike the main area, here, in addition to the steel traps, we also used hunting traps. Smaller, more portable, and easy to camouflage, perfect for the dense forest terrain and narrow paths. It took nearly 10 minutes for me to approach the area, carefully surveying my surroundings. Soon, a familiar figure appeared within my sights. But I didn't rush to shoot, as these creatures were clever and wary. The moment came, and my finger gently squeezed the trigger. It wasn't difficult for the clean shot I just made, and the result was well worth the effort. We sighed in relief as peace slowly returned to the land. Our traps are equipped with sophisticated devices, and as soon as the wild boars appear, a signal is sent directly to my device. Just minutes later, a signal from another trap went off as I finished my ambush in the east. My eyes quickly scanned the area, and there they were, a herd of boars, completely unaware. The gunshot rang out immediately. Unbelievably, I had just made a perfect shot. What do you think? As the light gradually faded, we had no choice but to pull back from the area. The darkness posed too many risks, from unpredictable terrain to other wild animals lurking in the shadows. Suddenly, a strange sound caught my attention. My eyes quickly locked onto a group of wild boars, diligently feeding. In that moment, a single shot rang out, precise and deadly, sealing the fate of the stubborn creature. By the time the night descended fully, we were all exhausted, our clothes caked in mud. But the prize we had earned made it all worthwhile. The rest of the boars had already retreated deep into the forest. We packed up, double-checked our weapons, and silently made our way out of the woods.